What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Malakai Makaisson Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Malakai's army made kindling of at least one Wood Elf unit or Malevolent Tree Spirit A unit as we won the adventure against the Wood Elves, but the destruction of the enemy lord forced the entire enemy army to rout. It was a little bit of an odd decision, but I understand it, as once again the difficulty would have been different if we had flame cannons instead of regular cannons, but what can you do? I don't personally think that it should have necessarily been designed the way that it was, simply because there's just too many units available to the various from the various adventures to put them all in Malakai's army, which wouldn't make sense. So acting as if the units will definitely be present just seems kind of illogical. But anyway, not a big deal. We got more adventures to come. In fact, at this very turn, we can jump into another adventure, the Chaos Dwarf and Dreadquake one, which should be fun. We'll see how those Dreadquakes fare against our cannons and our Air Force instead. We also got the Thunder Barges on field, and we should name them while we're here. You're going to be the Undestructible 2. Do numbers work? Numbers do work as well. The Undestructible 2, and you're going to be Thugni's Fist. Alright, and right. We technically do have another battle barge. Wait, that's Thunder Barge. You're gonna be the battle barge. There you go. Appreciate the reminder, because I might have forgotten, or I might have just kept accidentally calling it that until I gave in and named it as such anyway. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this turn, I guess it's really only the quest battle. We can't really jump out and do this as yet. I assume we're going to wait until they attack the Bay of Blades. And we do have Festus on the way to the Tower of Crack. Well, and we can get a lord there immediately. I don't know. Well, it doesn't look like Festus can reach the Tower of Crack, which would mean that we could, in theory. Let's get you in here, Mr. Ranger Trained. I think that's the best of the things. Well, let's get some units in here. And we don't know what's in Festus's army, but if it's a bunch of monsters, then it's going to be a huge problem for this army. What do we have in terms of recruitment? Okay, nothing from you, and we have nothing from you. We get some Akshina ambushers, just temporarily. Frankly, by the looks of it may be a while before we get too much use out of the Kislevite stuff, because they're just too low level. And we could just make use some of those. Once again, we don't know what's in Festus's army, but I'm wary of anything that has heavy armor or anything monstrous that Festus can simply out-heal. And I'm really hopeful that he can't actually reach the Tower of Crack, otherwise this would be a horrific waste of cash. But anyway, let's get some Akshina ambushers. Plus, I kind of want to compare them now that, see what they're like. I haven't actually recruited any of them since they've been nerfed, and I don't even remember whether I tried them in non-SFO at all, so yeah, this could be useful here. I just want to see something, though. These guys have, well, they have a little bit of armor piercing. We could also get Cossers instead to save up on some Allegiance, but frankly, the Allegiance isn't all that expensive, and once again, there's nothing to get. It'll be a while before we can get some little Groms from these guys. Anyway, that's that. Let us also then jump into, where are we here? And Dreadquake Destruction. I am going to give this a read. Kislev has proven itself to be a resilient scourge of chaos in all its forms, yet recently the Tsar's lands have been blighted by raids of infernal machines commanded by the Dowie's chaos-corrupted cousins, the Fire Dwarfs. A newly assembled gyrocopter fleet awaits to join the Spirit of Grungni's command to help bring an end to the notorious Sorcerer Prophet responsible. The Sorcerer Prophet's location and movements are finally being tracked from the air, leaving him nowhere to hide. Investing your time into the gyrocopters has been worthwhile. They have turned the tide in the search and will hopefully make the difference in the battle to come. Take the Spirit of Grungni and its gyrocopter squadron to the skies to rain fire down on the Hashut-worshipping fiend. Prove our war machines are superior to any of that monster's foul creations or magic. What do we have against us here? 3 Dreadquakes and a decent amount of anti-air, though. 3 Fireglaves, a couple of blunderbusses. I don't imagine the big boy, the Kadai Destroyer, will be any kind of threat, because we should be able to cannon it from a distance, but I guess it depends on how quickly the enemies rush us. Anyway, that's it. Let's teleport and let's get to it. And, right, oh. take this rune off. I want to see something. I want to make a comparison of something. Anyway. Which was that rune, by the way? That was the rune of burning, right? The rune of penetration prevents the grape shot from working, as I recall. But the other rune... Huh. Okay, actually, from here it doesn't do that, but I think it does. Anyway, take both runes off. I just want to see something. I feel like maybe Malakai's cannons shouldn't have runes because they interfere with stuff in general, which is weird. But anyway, here we go. As the earth shakes with the booming movements of dreadquakes in the distance, Malakai Makaisson waves his gyrocopters into the skies. The sorcerer prophet he must defeat wields twisted strands of chaos magic, commanding his war machines with mystical acuity. Yet Malakai is just as determined to prove the superiority of his own engineering. Either he shows the dark dwarfs...
Oh, we've caught him with his pants down! Run out of ammo, have you? Oh, what a shame! Now's our chance! Get the blasted front line!
Alrighty, I love the way that Malakai was mocking them for being out of ammo. That was pretty great. I mean, all his speeches have been pretty darn great. That said, I'm a little bit surprised by the choice of having the enemy be out of ammunition on the Dreadquake mortars. I mean, sure, they could take a few shots at us pretty much immediately and do heavy damage, but, well, that's the nature of the game sometimes. That's why they have those Dreadquakes, though they probably won't have them for long. Every single one of our cannons fires away at a single Dreadquake mortar in the center of the enemy line. And keep in mind that unlike big old forest spirits or monsters or whatnot, trains can't be staggered and thus don't have an invincibility frame. Without an invincibility frame, a single volley from all the cannons instantly obliterates the first Dreadquake, though I'm not entirely even sure that there's any real reason to bother with these things, as they don't have ammunition, or at least the first army doesn't. Second volley away, and we got a volley from the other guns as well, the Zufbar 42-pounders moving through the enemy line and specifically targeting the Infernal Guard with great weapons, the biggest threat on the field aside from the enemy fireglaves. And there's that second volley hitting that second Dreadquake, and so it goes down just like the rest. Our two Thunder Barges and our Gyro Choppers are moving in and are going to hopefully deal a little bit of damage to the enemy army before they have to move away. There we go. Third Dreadquake out of the picture already, but as soon as it is out, the enemy reinforcements are triggered to move on in, and those reinforcements include more Dreadquakes, this time with some... what the heck? Supply train. I didn't even notice you, supply train. Cool. The Dreadquakes are here as well, but they do have ammunition. Huh. Man, when you're commanding the battle from up above like this, you don't even notice things like supply trains. Go figure. Anyway, the cannons will continue to fire upon the enemy, now gonna separate into firing upon the enemy lord and the Kadai destroyer, neither of which are likely to reach our battle lines, while the Thunder Barges and the Gyrocopters will instead peel away and head instead towards the newly found enemy army. Gonna activate that afterburner, whatever it's called, yeah, okay. Of course it is. Thunderburner on Thugni's Fist, and we're gonna have it join the Undestructible too over there. Now I want to check something. So okay, so these three cannons, the ones that never had a rune, all have dig in on them, whereas this one, the Dowie Handshake, does not. Why? I don't understand. I'm not sure the cannons are even supposed to have dig in on them, whether this is a bug or not, but you can see these things' range has increased, and it happened again in the previous battle. Not that it mattered, because we had the range anyway, and we have the range here since I deployed in such a way that we had range before dig in was active, but it's still odd, and it's even more odd that this one does not have it. Also, just want to take a look at what's going on back here. Looks like some oil extraction presumably going on with a bunch of lava, magma flowing all over the place, or lava, whatever. Anyway, that army isn't really up to much, but the gyrocopters are moving in, gonna drop some of those burning bombs down upon those poor units of Chaos Dwarf Warriors, and ow! Are they vortex effects? I didn't think those would actually suck enemies in. Huh, I didn't even realize that. Well, that's real nice. Flying leaves a pool of fire and strike zone, powerful explosions, strong versus multiple combatants. It doesn't say anything about them having a little mini vortex effect. Well, that's great. I won't say no to a free vortex effect. More gyrocopters moving in. Probably going to drop a couple bombs on the Chaos Dwarf Warriors here when ready. But right now we're just annoying the enemy army. Frankly, these guys are so slow moving so far away from us that they're not any kind of threat in any way. And in the meantime, while all this is happening, more enemies are moving in from their main army, and they're just getting absolutely minced by cannon fire. We've split our cannons to fire two are firing grape shot and two are firing regular shot. And there's another use from those Zufbar 42 pounders. As soon as the enemy is once again out of range, we return all 4 cannons to regular fire and keep pummeling those Chaos Dwarfs. Of course, this was never going to end particularly well for them, especially as we have a choke point in our favor, and the incoming Dreadquakes are going to get obliterated from the air before they can do anything. And there we are. And just like that, the battle is ours, and well, we show them our machine superiority, I guess. Although I would have been interested to see how it would have gone if the enemy had actually had ammunition. Close victory. I guess we expended some ammunition, sure. Alright, very nice. 2 more levels for Mr. Malakai here. Nearly 4,000 gold, which we certainly need because we're losing plenty of it. Oh, this campaign and the gold loss. Yeah, one question after we take a look at this for a sec. So the Skyhammer considerably outdid everybody else, but I think it dropped more bombs than everybody else did. In fact, I think this one got a volley of bombs out, but the Skyhammer did more. But anyway, damage was, that was mostly the cannons, let's face it. The central cannons that switched to Grape Shot mid-run got 30k damage, and the 2 that didn't switch got 8 and 12, as the enemy was nice and blobby as they tried to cross that bridge or choke point and got destroyed. Anyway, we don't need to heal. We can take the money and the Oath Gold. And another Stone Mason, and there's that glaive gun, though I guess we can give it to the engineer. Another Stone Mason, all Stone Masons all the time. Adventure complete. Lovely. When can we start our next adventure? 5 turns, because we just started the Skaven's game. I want to give those organ guns to Grimbrindle, but at least he can move away from Malakai's army regardless, so shouldn't matter all that much. Speaking of Malakai, you can go into encamp, and I guess you... Huh, wait. I could have sworn that the Spirit of Grungni's recruitment was available before, but it isn't now, which is weird. We have to move or something. Oh, there it is. Why? What happened? I don't know. Global recruitment's unavailable outside of encamp, but this does seem to be available right now. Let's give him a couple regular Iron Drakes. I'm not sure how many we will give him, but he does need to have some, maybe, to go with the Scolder Guard, though I might delete them later depending on how the Grudge Rakers perform. Or we could just do Grudge Rakers. It's just, the only thing that bothers me about Grudge Rakers in this army is that they're not buffed at all by any of this. Even though I feel like they would work nicely, or relatively nicely, with the Iron Drakes. Certainly something to consider. Let's put a couple in them in the army, and then if we separate it into a different army, and then we can do that. And we'll give them some more gyrocopters and stuff as well. Anyway, gonna have to figure out how that army functions. Zufbarden, you are still defending, and I think we're okay. Zufbarden will hopefully not die. It would be unfortunate to lose the engineer corps. Now, do we need to build anything here? This gives us an increase. You know what? Let's get this. The signals network. Airship crew recruitment capacity will enable Grumbrindle to recruit more faster. And we don't really need the engineering compartment as yet, and I think we need to hold on to the cash that we have, lest we get screwed over. Tempting to go for the automated foundry as well. We could then build any artillery we want via global recruit, which would be valuable as well, but that would mean delaying the rune-etched hull. Which is starting to move. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Not right now. It's not like we're in a hurry. Anyway, I believe with that, we're ready to end the turn unless there's Diplo to do, but I'm pretty sure since that wasn't a new turn, we did the Diplo last episode, and I will not pathologically check it this time. I do want to double check the outposts available. We already checked the empires, and I didn't like any of their positioning. Maybe we just do build one at Ubersreich anyway. Is the Black Pit safe, perhaps? No, it's not. It's surrounded by these guys. Why didn't you build walls over at Ubersreich? And yes, I know it has walls itself. I mean the wall, like, the building. This wants us to build it at Kemperbad, because Kemperbad is what, out of the way? Yeah, but Kemperbad's not safe, and it certainly doesn't have walls, does it? I don't think any of his places do. Wait, there's a guardhouse being built currently at Krugenheim. The problem is it's bordering with Vlad, and he's at war with them. Yeah, this feels like it's going to be a waste of money. I'm going to try Ubersreich, and I'm just going to hope it doesn't come back to bite us. I just want those landships, man. Ubersreich. Go for it. Alright, and we don't have an outpost with the Urson Revivalists, but frankly, they don't have any buildings, really, so it doesn't really serve to do that right now. I don't think they can really construct anything because everything is a tier 2 and we don't really care about getting more Kossars. I guess we could get more Akshina ambushers, but that's about it. Anyway, I think with that we'll end the turn. Let's see if this was a horrific waste of cash or not. And the Tariff Crack, you don't have actual walls, so this is going to be a field battle. We do have some, Longbeards here. 3 units of Quarrelers, not so bad, but once again, depends on what's in his army. Anyway, end turn. Alright, plus we got all this to happen. I probably could have leveled Vrongni nor Grimling, but, well, let's hope that we survive. We do have a Thunder Barge and Architects of Pardon's army, after all. And... Huh? Wait, what? Wait, Boris, you're interrupting. You still want that defensive alliance, should we just do that so that he stops bothering us constantly? He'll probably end up getting us into a war with the, with these guys. Though eventually we'd have to declare war. And you know what, just wait, Boris. It's not enough money. If you give us like 3,000, then sure. What the heck happened here? You moved in by yourself while this army stayed at sea, meaning you just destroyed yourself. Okay, alright, well, fine by me. I'm not gonna complain about it. Scourge of Akatene's still running around. Oh, I fear for the lair of the Troll King. Minus 2.9 can. Oh, Festus didn't reach us. Well, isn't that lovely? Well, we can't build anything else, but what we could do... Oh, you know what we should do? Can we see what it's in his... Ooh. Okay, that's not looking good. There's an Exalted Hero, Chaos Giant, Beast, Nurgle, and Spawn already without seeing what's in here. Those are all units with high HP and low entity numbers, which could benefit a lot from Festus's healing elixirs and whatnot. That's going to be a problem for the Dwarf Warriors, which wouldn't be able to hurt any of those units at all. Wait. So the only way to hurt them... I mean, the Quarrelers might, but they don't have much armor piercing either to the Akshina ambushers. That's actually a problem. And we don't have any more regiments of renown. We could pop a unit of Slayers with Grudge Settlers in here. I kind of don't want to give him the Grudge Settlers, although... Wait. How expensive are you guys now? 362, yeah, because of this nonsense. Yeah, but it'll go away in 3 turns, which is okay. You summoned me. I'm thinking, because Grumbrindle also buffs Quarrelers, right? The White Dwarf gives a melee defense 10 plus for Quarrelers. Leadership is general, but that's the only buff that he gives them directly, unless I'm mistaken. Speed, armor-piercing weapon damage. Oh, I do like the speed, though, and this is all Iron Drakes and War Machines, which he doubles up on. Well, actually, the Iron Drakes are the only things that he doubles up on, so he wants lots and lots of Iron Drakes. I was just thinking about giving a bunch of the... But there's already a unit of Corlers with great weapons with grudge settlers here. And they have a shield breaker, which I would imagine is not particularly useful for iron drakes. I don't imagine that shields can block a trollhammer torpedo. At least it would have to be a heck of a shield, wouldn't it? I actually don't know whether they work against them, but really concerned as to what's in here. Well, either way, that's a problem for future Ruinous. You can see why he hates past Ruinous. Let's destroy these guys as our first course of action here. You're gonna go here, you're gonna go here.
Let us begin.
And you are going to not run away far enough. Sorry, buddy. Is it pardon? Ooh, you know what? Let's make a few admin moves so that we don't have a bunch of battles in a row. Oh. Free killing. Good. Good. Alright, you're both gonna go here, and you're gonna chase this guy down and destroy him. Hopefully he can't run too far. What are you? You're not at war with anybody. You just appeared here in our friends' territories. Big mistake, sir. Declare war, don't call your allies to help. There's no need, since these guys will be gone. In a turn, they'll run, but they won't run far enough. A little bit out of our way as we're trying to head southward towards the rats, but that's okay, we'll get there in time. Auto-resolve looks good to me. And hopefully that gives another level to Grumbrindle as we want him to level. Alright, do we need to heal? I think we're okay, take the money. We need the money, let's face it. Alright, Stonemason, that's fine. Faction destroyed top knots. They were in and then they were out. Another Dwarf Bride. Grumbrindle, sorry, you can't have the Dwarf Bride. We are going to give that ancillary to you, yes? Yes. Hopefully you survive. And, ow! I could give one of the glaive guns to one of these guys if we wanted to. Just temporarily. Speaking of giving temporary items, wait, I'll deal with this. Where's the ancillaries? Ah, here we go. Grumbrindle. And it's useless to you, but the additional income from all buildings plus 9, we got 1, 2, 3, so nearly plus 30 between these three. So if they were to sit around in Krakadrak, it would significantly increase the money made by the place. Probably not enough to counteract the existence of the engineer corps, but it would probably make it almost counteracted, which is pretty good. Anyway, that was not the end of what we're doing with Malakai. Malakai. Move southward. I'm hoping that you can reach the Pillar of Skulls from here. I don't know for sure. Oh! Oops, Grumbrindle, you can't move far enough. It's a mild problem, but oh well. You might have to suffer attrition. Let's just hope that there is no secret rat army nearby that'll jump out and... Oh, it's doing that thing again. Oh, wait, no it isn't. Spirit of Grungni's right here. I lied. Alright, so let's get you 2 more gyrocopters of the regular kind. And we'll get you the Scolder Guard, but they're currently busy in another army. I guess 2 Thunderers? And we'll transfer him the one battle barge so that it can there can be a mothership for his regular gyrocopters since they're not going to be in any other army. And we're going to give him a bunch of organ guns. I like the idea of the gyrocopters, the Scolder Guard, the Iron Drakes and the organ guns working together. Maybe the Thunderers with Grudge Rakers are a little bit much, but it really depends on how the army performs. I haven't built an army all around nothing but Iron Drakes before. Obviously, they're not good in melee, so I'm not entirely sure whether it'll work or not, so I'm just excited to test it out. Anyway, that's good enough. Malefic's a God Slayer. That's an interesting name. In the sense that you're a level 3, and it's a little much. You gotta show some achievements before you name yourself God Slayer. But anyway. Alrighty, well, the architect has to take a break from his day job and defend our holds, though I suppose this is a decent way to level him up, so why not? There's benefit to doing so. we can still make use of that while he's running around building things. Anyway, our newly christened battle barge has moved on in, and this is its maiden flight, and it will hopefully do plenty of damage with it. It's heading towards the enemy, and we're going to start on the high-value enemy targets. Beast of Nurgle is going to get hit by that big old harpoon, taking about, let's say, 30% of its HP off, while cannon fire continues to focus it. And a little bit of work from those grudge rakers firing from the thunder barge as well, while the bombs shoot the enemy. Now, there is a thing about the way that the thunder barge moves where you tell it to attack a unit like this, it tries to always hover directly over it, which is a little bit odd because while the bombs are great, this does mean that the cannons can't fire upon the unit that is directly below it. So not always the best thing, especially as we may want our cannon fire to actually target things like this beast. So we're gonna have to manually control it until the enemy moves away a little bit and then get back into it. Looks like the enemy is not yet annoyed enough about this occurring to actually move towards our army, but that's not surprising. I mean, we've done some damage to a single Beast of Nurgle so far. It's not been all that much. Though, our gyrocopters with brimstone guns are always flying around, annoying those doggos. They don't do that much damage, but, well, they still use their powers to annoy. Anyway. Looks like this Beast of Nurgle will be out soon. We're just going to keep on sort of turning in the air and firing in all directions. This poor enemy army has absolutely nothing it can do to deal with the Thunder Barge in any way. Anyway, looks like a couple more shots from the cannons will force the enemy Beast of Nurgle to begin to crumble away or into banishment. And another shot from the main gun, should bring it down. There we go. Actually, I think that might have been a grudge raker that brought it down. Anyway, it looks like with the destruction of the Beast of Nurgle, the enemy is annoyed enough. From a distance, it looked like the Chaos Spawn was still, like, moving on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, now we move forward. The enemy Lord is our next target and has already lost about half of its HP to cannon fire. It also doesn't have a mount, so really can't dodge any of this and is going to be far too slow, most likely, to actually reach our lines. That must be so frustrating. Like, what are you supposed to do here? There's nothing they can do. He can occasionally launch fireballs at the battle barge, I suppose, but that's about all. And just about every cannon sends him tumbling to the ground as well, until we bring him down. Damn, I thought that would finish him. And the bombs actually finished him. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Well done to the battle barge. Keep harassing the enemy army on its approach. The enemy still has not really reached our battle line, though it looks like at least a few of them are moving on in. I've grown very wary of Chaos Spawn over the course of this particular campaign, or specifically against the Dwarf Warriors, who the Chaos Spawn are very dangerous to, and thus we're going to try to focus this Chaos Spawn down before it reaches our lines, even with a little bit of extra help from the gyrocopters with the brimstone guns. And there we go. The spawn are nearly down, but we do have another unit of spawn of Nurgle and another beast of same over on the leftmost flank heading into the Dwarf Warriors, and by the looks of it, they will be forced to fight. We're going to peel away one of our units of Dwarf Warriors to head towards these Chaos Warhounds here and have otherwise, generally speaking, deployed our line in a, not quite what I'd call a blob, sort of like a staggered melee formation, as we don't want the units interfering with each other, and if necessary, we will want them to sort of be able to move around, hit the enemy in the flanks and back. Our Scolder Guard are doing their best to fire over the heads of our troops. Hopefully the steam doesn't do too much damage to our own, and due to the occasional inaccuracy. And I can't wait to get more Iron Drake action, as Grumbrindle will be doing a lot of that through the course of this campaign. Anyway, the Thunder Barge is moving in to support as the enemies have arrived with the monstrous units in tow, and they're probably going to be doing the most damage to this unit of Dwarf Warriors, specifically, out of our entire line. The other unit of Chaos Spawn has reached our lines with only about 300-ish HP remaining, but is still very much in the fight because they're unbreakable and because the Dwarf Warriors are going to struggle against them either way. You can see just how little their HP is dropping, even though they're in the center of the action. And they've already gotten 3 kills on the way, and we'll probably get a few more before the day is done. That said, the rest of the army is in disarray as the demonic units begin to crumble under fire from the battle barge. Our Peak Gate Guard move in to help out a little bit and try to knock out those Chaos Spawn as the Dwarf Warriors were struggling so much, although I do imagine the Peak Gate Guard would be vulnerable to damage from these guys as well, as Hammerers aren't the most defensive unit, let's say. Anyway, Beast of Nurgle falls, and now it's just a matter of destroying the remaining Chaos Spawn here. Alrighty, and I believe a Lord is in here somewhere as well. Grungni is in, and Architects of Barden is trying to move in to join up. But at least the Lords can dish out the damage and quickly bring down the spawn where the Warriors cannot. And there we go, with that, the battle is ours. A quick little one, but a preview of the second one, as the second force is significantly bigger and a significantly greater threat. Alright, very nice. That was absolutely the Battle Barges show, and units like to overperform a little bit when they just get their name, so it does make sense. And at 59k damage, the enemy army was sorry to see this thing floating overhead. Of course, the Battle Barges do look obnoxious against certain units or certain armies or certain factions, but it's primarily those that have absolutely no air force of their own, or no anti-air, so no archers to contend with and no flying monsters, or at the very least no flying monsters in this particular army, means that our air force had free reign to obliterate the enemy. Just like a modern army, really. So yeah, the dwarfs are quickly modernizing, and only the Skaven have a chance of keeping up right now. Anyway, we are going to... I mean, we could heal up, but the damage is fairly insignificant, and once again, we're losing just oodles of cash, so let's just destroy it. Can we reach this guy? Yes, we can. All right. Well, that sounds like more work for the battle barge to me, don't it? Do you have any flyers? I was wondering if we want to put like a scarecrow banner on it or something, but I think we're okay. You cannot actually head out there, eh? Okay, you can't. Huh. What's the likelihood that oh yeah, Festus is gonna attack next turn? I was gonna potentially send Grungni over there, but I guess Grungni can grab these troops and head over there to deal with Festus. Yeah, I think one takeaway from that battle was we saw that a unit with, I think it was 4 units of Chaos Spawn left, and they had like 200 HP, like nothing. And it took absolutely ages for one of the units of Dwarf Warriors to actually bring them down. Gotta remember that the Dwarf Warriors do absolutely tiny amounts of damage, and they're fantastic for holding the line, but they're basic cheap tier 1 troop, and they'll probably struggle to outdamage even a unit of Marauders under Festus. I just really strongly don't want to lose the Tower of Crag like we lost the Troll Fjord, which is, well, that one was insignificant, but this is not, especially since we invested a lot into the tier 3 there, and it's one of our few tier 3s. We have Crackerjack, we just got to tier 4, everything else is, other than Hellpit, is tier 2, so, yeah. I'm just wondering what we could do here. We could once again do this. I'm not entirely sure it's necessary, but there is also items. We do have Oath Gold. We got some runes to spend and runes that aren't being used, so there is that to consider. Anyway, we'll move you in a second, Mr. Zufbarden. Stochel, I would like you to head to the Monolith of Catan, so grab that shipwreck. And then on to the Monolith, sir. Explore the island, resolve it. No damage, or at least little enough as to make no difference, and we'll heal to full. We'll make sure that we're nice and healthy. Please be 8,000 gold, or 5,000. 8,000. Nice, nice, very nice. Alright. Monolith of Catan, you're up next. Varg. I'm willing to bet they're gonna start suing for peace shortly after all this. But, well, they did a good job in terms of opportunistically attacking us in the manner that they did. Snorri, you're heading down to Trollfjord Town. I'm once again wondering whether we should peel away one of the dragon slayers, although now you're gonna have to loop around this way, and if Stochel goes for Serpent Jetty, it might actually be quicker to go around this way. They're both going up north to deal with these guys anyway, at least for now, though we might have Snorri make a little bit of a detour to us break the Shadow Legion just so we don't have to deal with them. Because once we have Norska, they're going to eventually declare war on us. The other option is, of course, the Scaling, who are still alive. You guys had your opportunity. Come on now. Alright, anyway. Let's complete whatever admin we need to do and then get back into the fight there. Baron, you are going to the Pillar of Skulls, and there should be another hero here. Mr. Getgold, you're going to Tribe Slaughter. Don't like the fact that these guys have taken care of Vlag rather, but, well, not much we can do about it right now. Alright, what else do we have? Zamnel Knucklebreaker, you're gonna fight probably next turn, assuming that Festus actually attacks us. And the rest of this, I believe, is good. Let's see about any buildings or Diplo. And oh my lord, that Confederation debuff needs to go. Look at our public order, it's horrendous. And it's causing even more growth problems as well. Monolith of Flesh. We could build a toolmaker's workshop here, rather than run over there. Just do it. Just do it. We have the money, and frankly, we might need to counteract the massive money losses right now faster, rather than waiting for the architects to come around. Bay of Blades. Well, we can build the guard hall up right now. Why not, right? Giant Home Mountains, Crackerjack. Yeah, we will send units there. And Alfari Plain. We're actually fairly close to you, so we should be able to get up there next turn, assuming we win the next battle. And Terror of Torment, you can collect the income for now. You'll be traded, though I suppose we can trade the Bleeding Spire and the Writhing Fortress to these guys immediately. Bleeding Spire for you. 3.4k. No. I just wanted to see. And you can have the Writhing Fortress as well. Frankly, they can't hold on to all of this territory most likely, and we'll probably have to just help them again, but it's fine. Somebody has to hold the wastes rather, and that's us. The first thing was a Nurglite thing. Anyway, Igarl and Prince Siggy. Ooh, wait, this will give us a vision of who they are, where they are. Okay, so Siggy appears to be here, and will probably retake the Twisted Towers. Igarl is all the way back there, but he's worth more than Siggy right now. But it'll probably take him a while to travel, so let's say Siggy first. Alright, the rest of that looks good to me. Next battle, time to get you up and running. Zuf Barton, let's have that battle barge obliterate these guys here. Oh, I should have leveled it out. It's too late, it's too late. We'll have the battle barge deal with it. They still have no anti-air. Ooh, lots of Beasts of Nurgle though, that'll be a little bit more of a problem. And the Exalted Hero as well. Ooh, they do have a sort of form of air defense, as Spirit Leech spam. You have to be careful about that, though. How many Spirit Leeches would it take to bring down a Thunder Barge? Let's find out. Alrighty, here we go again, or at the very least the battle barge will once again begin the battle, though it looks like unlike the previous battle, the enemy might not want to wait and appears to be milling around at least from the very start of the fight. Now we've deployed over on this side of the map, we have some impassable terrain over here and some woods, importantly as well, due to the anti-large debuff, or the debuff to large units that are in there and the number of chaos spawn located in the enemy army. Obviously this cliffside will be quite helpful as well. I obviously also didn't want to deploy directly in the corner because I don't like corner camping, but this is, let's face it, the best location on the map, especially for an infantry heavy army, as the woods would normally interfere with artillery and range, but we don't really have any of that other than the Skolder Guard. Anyway, the enemy army already moving won't give us time to sufficiently harass their force on the approach, but we'll do our best to knock out out a few of the high-value targets, or at least dish out decent damage to them. Once again, it is the Beasts of Nurgle that are the order of the day, and yes, the enemy does have a War Shrine Sorcerer out there casting those Spirit Leeches on the Battle Barge, but perhaps it's better that it does so rather than do that to the Lords, especially with the massive HP pool on the barges. The Lord is also so slow-moving that we're better off trying to knock out the Beasts of Nurgle and then turning back to hunt said Lord down. Alright, come on, we gotta get at least one of these beasts out of the way, though it looks like the enemy army is quickly moving in as well. Another Spirit Leech hits our gyrocopters, which have dropped nearly to half HP, though fortunately the Leech seems to have spread its damage out and not dropped any of the individual models, which is kind of interesting. Because I would have assumed that it would affect one model and then destroyed it until the next model was ready to take the damage. But anyway, out here it looks like the enemy Exalted Hero of Nurgle has moved in, and we're going to meet it with the Peak Gate Guard Hammerers as well as Architects of Pardon to try to help out. Looks like 48 damage already on that chariot riding Exalted Hero. Kind of impressed with that, actually. And it looks like, yeah, lots of damage to the Peak Gate Guard. I mean, generally speaking, you probably want to get your hammers to hit the enemy in the flanks or in the back, rather than directly fighting things like this, but yeah, I'm surprised at how well the Exalted Hero of Nurgle is doing. I mean, it's a chariot. And yeah, look at that damage. Well done. Well done, sir. Though not well done for too much longer, as he will finally break, though due to the mass of the chariot, will actually be able to flee the battle. Otherwise, the enemy is looking to try to overrun our lines, though I don't imagine they'll be too successful at it. We did manage to bring one of the beasts down with the battle barge, and now it is hunting Ragnar Putris, the enemy Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, all the way to the battle lines. We also have our brimstone guns firing into the rear of the enemy Chaos Warriors, just to try to do a teensy bit of extra damage. Once again, we gotta remember that at the end of the day, these are basic dwarf warriors helping, or holding rather, that we recruited via global recruit, simply because it only takes one turn as opposed to two for anything else. I wonder if there's a... gotta look into whether there is a building that could decrease the global recruitment in certain location down to 1. Because if there is, those should probably be built in areas where we are trying to hold the enemy off. Anyway, the enemy lord is still moving, but it looks like is in pretty bad shape. We're gonna get the Scolder Guard to turn to it. I don't know how effective they would be at this sort of thing, but I do know that regular Iron Drakes, non-troll hammers, but flamethrower Iron Drakes, are pretty darn solid at knocking out big single entities, so why not have the Scolder Guard try it out as well, even though they're anti-infantry. Between them and the Thunder Barge, the enemy lord goes down before it really contributes to the fight, and it looks like a lot of the enemy demons are beginning to melt away. That said, the bounce power is at about 70% in our favor, and we still have Spawn, Forsaken, Chaos Warriors, etc. to work our way through, and yet another Beast of Nurgle. Alright, this is turning to be rather quite a nice battle. And this is how dwarf warriors are made. You gotta get some experience before you can upgrade yourself. Bad more factions, as I think a lot of people commented in the in my Archaon campaign that they would like to see the warband system be repeated for many factions, and it would be pretty cool. Like, it doesn't even have to be the main source, sort of upgrades, but maybe units that gain high enough veterancy for most factions should have the ability to be upgraded over time, so that you could, you know, sort of start with the units of dwarf warriors and then over time upgrade them to Longbeards, Ironbreakers, or whatever, and thereby, you know, keep your named units that you're attached to growing with you throughout the campaign. It's a really cool system, and that they really should make better use of. You know, it's another cool system that they should make better use of: the Allegiance and Outpost system. It needs a little bit more work. Even though I think it was probably the best addition to the third game. And that includes all the new factions and everything else, so you got to love the Outpost system because of the variety that it offers. Anyway, it looks like the enemy army has been broken at this point, while I've been ranting away, as I do on my days. The Chaos Spawn are the only things to still stand, but hardly surprising, as they always do, as they're unbreakable. And once again, against those Dwarf Warriors, these things take ages to kill. 90 kills on these guys. And we really need Lords or Heroes or whatever to bring them down. Actually, while those Chaos Spawn fall, we can see the damage. The Peak Gate Guard very heavily hurt here, and a lot of the Dwarf Warriors have just tiny slivers of HP. Twas a solid battle, most definitely, especially considering all those monsters that the enemy brought that we were always going to struggle with, which makes me a little bit more concerned about the Festus situation. I have to give that some more thought. But anyway, last of the Chaos Spawns, somebody bring the big boy down, and there we go. Unbreakable no longer. Alright, beautiful. Thunderbarge is going to take a few extra seconds to bring down whatever it can, as we don't want to spend our days chasing, and the gyrocopters will help out, and it looks like we're good. Alright, very nice. That one was a little bit tougher and a lovely little battle. We saw a lot of our Dwarf Warriors get minced by the enemy spawn of Nurgle. This one managed to kill 94, and I believe this one was being attacked by 2 or 3 of them at the same time. And the beasts did well as well, which is exactly what's making me wary of Festus's approach, because these spawn are doing very well at mincing these guys. We won't have the Thunder Barge there, and on top of that, they will have Festus's healing and are unbreakable. Hopefully he doesn't have an army that's just nothing but spawn, in addition to that giant and whatever else it was. I also noticed that our battle barge did kill off a fair few of our Peak Gate Guard, but well, what can you do? Anyway, we're gonna execute and loot, I guess, once more to take the money to keep us not bankrupt. You will unfortunately... Oh, you will be able to reach this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Destroy them. And the army will be done. Then we will drink to victory. Then we will go into full speed stance and land here. Then we will transfer all the forces... Huh? Enemy killed in battle, mission successful. Oh, nice. We will transfer all of the forces here to you. You're going to move to Festus while Architect goes north to continue building stuff, as they like to do. And you can march stance and then begin to move out immediately. If this army and the tower should fall, then you will have to deal with it with the battle barge, which is already at rank 7. I mean, it did rack up quite the kill count over the last few episodes. Or battles, rather. Next up... We could get the Oath of Forging, but I think we try to go towards Inquiring Mind with you. Though, this is what, his second time defending? So at this point I'm almost thinking that maybe... I also noticed that Dwarf Lords buff Longbeards with physical resistance, but they don't buff Ironbreakers and stuff. I guess they do via the hack and slash, but so do they buff Longbeards in this manner. So you could double up on Longbeards buffs via a Lord, eh? Almost makes me think that the Lord might be the better choice for the Jartrum Throng rather than Ironbreakers. I'll think about it. Either way, let's get you Iron-Willed, and then we will, assuming there's no growth here. And sadly there is not. Attrition, casualty or punishment rate, and ambush defense. I'm going to say we go through Lightning Strike here. In the very unlikely event that these guys have to fight again, the Lightning Strike could certainly be helpful, but it's Inquiring Mind that we're trying to get to. Recruit rank +1 and upkeep reduction and research rate. It's all not much, but once again, this is not a fighty Lord, so shouldn't be fighting. Boost income for you, of course, and oh right, we have steel tech on these guys. We should get a couple of engineers out there to, well, start stealing tech. Then... Yeah, 2 points. Let's get your flash bomb. Might have actually been able to put some use into that in that battle if we had had the levels, which I'm not entirely sure of. And let's try to start moving towards Cinder Blast Shell. So percussive maintenance, and I guess the same with you. Boost income, boost income, flash bomb, percussive maintenance. All right, nice. Nice. Well done, Architect Zufbarden. Funnily enough, you, despite being an architect, you've been quite useful in not just architecture. Alrighty, let's see. Do we need to build anything? I think I checked this. Yeah, it's been a very long turn. We were just having constant fights, so now I'm just getting confused as to where we are, what we're doing. Diplomacy. Did I do you? Mainland, you want that defensive alliance even more now? Peace with the Scourge of Aquitaine. Huh. They have a nearly full stack now. This will at least keep them out of the lair of the Troll King. You know what, I'm gonna peace out with them, and I'm just gonna hope that they keep fighting with the Orthodoxy. I can always send an army to deal with them later, and honestly, if the Orthodoxy loses territory, we take that territory, and then we trade it back to them for Norscan territories, so I think that works. Gormani tribe, Ferric, and Varg we don't care about, but Mainland, still not enough. Give us 3k, then we'll do it. Until then, no thank you. Alright, Zemnil Knuckle... Oh, yeah. Alright, what we need to do now is take a look at the forge. We are still missing probably a bunch of runes we have. We have some elf gold. We could get 2 of the big runes, like the, for example, Master Rune. Okay, well, the Master Rune of Disguise probably not what we want here. Master Rune of Stromny Redbeard is a nice one. Melee attack +8 for non-character unit, but also an area leadership and melee attack effect, though that really wouldn't help the Dwarf Warriors all that much against Chaos Spawn and the like. Discouraged attacks would help against any demonic units, but there's no guarantee that Festus has any demonic units in his army, though the attribute causes terror. Wait, what? Wait, what? Attribute causes terror, assigned non-character unit. Attribute causes fear when fighting greenskins. If you cause terror, aren't you already immune to the effect from fear? But I guess it also adds the fear effect, even though you're immune to the psychological effect of it, I imagine. But anyway, I think we get the Master Rune of Groth One-Eye. I think this will work. The Discouraged Leadership effect does have to go on a non-character unit, but could still be quite useful. I wonder if it works for ranged attacks. Could put it on a ranged unit. That might be even better. Alright, next up. We still have 600, so we could get 2 basic runes. We have the Ancestor Rune, which is Vigor and Expert Charge Defense. Rune of Courage gives us the immunity to Psychology, which is fairly nice. Let's get a Rune of Courage. Against demonic units. It's nice, and then we could just get a Rune of Battle or something along those lines. We have the Master Rune of Grungni, which we're too late for, but the missile resistance is irrelevant to our current stack. There's the Rune of Stromny, which we decided not to do. There's a Rune of Dismay, which is speed reduction, but I'm not entirely sure that it's all that great here. Spell resistance, probably not super relevant, although I suppose Festus could use his thing. I think we just straight go into Rune of Battle. I got Rune of Battle. I mean, we have to get all those runes anyway. Alright, next up, we swap some runes into your army, and I guess we could... Wait, do we even have any items to give you? Heart of Malevolence. Ah, sure. Why not? Heart of Malevolence it is. And what else do we have here? The other Trickster Shard wouldn't help us. Give you a Dawnstone, though there's probably a lot of magical damage. I'm not going to trade him... Huh. If we lose this battle... Would we lose the Heart of Malevolence, or would it go back into our... Ooh... I mean, you know what? I'm going to have to experiment with it at some point, so we'll experiment with it right now. Garagrim, you can trade him the Helm of Discord. He needs the armor. And hand weapons, I don't think we have any free. I guess we could give you the Slayer's Axe. Honestly, it doesn't give you much, although speed. Take you from Snorri. Was Garagrim holding the Helm of Discord? I give you the Slayer's Axe. For now. For now. It's all temporary. Razor Standard could be a little bit of armor piercing. We definitely want the Master Rune of Groth One-Eye. Definitely want the Rune of Battle. I could poison them by giving the Slayers the Dragonhide cloaks if we wanted to. Or the Ragnarok Trophy, rather, with the combination of the Heart of Malevolence. Both of these would go on Slayer units, eh? You know what? I'm not willing to risk those. A Lichbone Pennant. Ooh, do we risk a Lichbone Pennant? I wish I could put it on the Quarrelers rather than the Akshina Ambushers. But at least they have the stock, which is still going to be helpful for us. Dwarf Warriors with magical damage from the Lichbone Pennants. Probably not going to be enough to make any difference. Rune of Courage instead. Rune of Stoicism. Those are the artillery runes, and I think all of this wouldn't help. At least not as far as I can tell. Stonemason, Tower of Tales. I think it's good enough. Alright. And I believe we're good to go now. We can't sally out against you again. No, we can't, damn. I was able to draw the garrison out. Oh, actually, I had another idea. What if we put another lord nearby? Any good lords? Ancient, Demon Slayer. Probably help against those guys. You do have magical damage, which would help against the demonic, like killing off that Beast of Nurgle. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like this idea. It's only going to be for one turn, so even at the money losses. We're already making all these expenditures, in for a penny and for a pound. I guess the problem here is that this will give Festus probably the opportunity to attack this guy outside of the settlement, drawing the rest of us in, but I think we're fine. I'm probably overdoing it, but I'm kind of overcompensating for the Troll Fjords loss. Because I got really surprised by those, Oh! That gave us the ability to see more stuff. Yeah, still concerning stuff in here. I got surprised by those Marauder champions, and I don't want to get surprised again. Alright, well, either way, I believe we're good, unless we want to build something up at the Spirit of Grungni, though I'm reasonably sure that we don't. You're already recruiting, sir. I probably do want to build some stuff, but I think we can hold off on... Well, you know what, let's get the firing range upgrade, actually, while we're here. More recruit ranks, more XP outside everywhere. Enter. Alright, we'll Festus strike. If he doesn't, we'll chase him down with all of this. Festus. He will strike. Nice. And I guess he can't go after the Demon Slayer after all, or he would have tried. Alrighty, now. The runes. This is important. The immunity to psychology is irrelevant on the Slayers, meaning we pop them onto one of the units of Dwarf Warriors. Now, the Dwarf Warriors of Zamnel's army are going to be faster moving than the regular Dwarf Warriors due to the additional speed brought by his ranger training, meaning we could damn, he has more Beasts of Nurgle. Ugh. Yeah, this is still going to be a problem. Valiant defeat and high casualties. Sounds like a fun fight, though. Rune of Stoicism. I say we put that on the lord. Wait, oh, it's not for lords? Assign non-character unit. Rune of Stoicism assigned unit. No, we can still put it on you. It just doesn't give you the charge defense. Affects all allies in range, eh? But does it affect you yourself? You know, I'm gonna put it on one of the dwarf units just to give them the other bonuses that it confers. So just to double check, yeah, you do have the expert charge defense now. Nice. A Rune of Courage's immunity to psychology. We'll put it on you. You know what? Spread these out a little bit. Non-character unit, Master Rune of Growth, one eye. Causes terror, causes fear, and discouraged effect, reducing leadership. Can we put it on you? Yes, we can. What's your ammunition like? 24. How does that compare to... Oh, I actually have a little bit more ammunition than than these guys. The area aura of this would, though, be wasted on you. Maybe we put it on the Slayers? Does the discouraging attack of Slayers... They're probably going to be sent in to surround and kill one of these guys. Am I overthinking this? Probably I'm overthinking this. Just pop it on all of you guys. And then we'll go. And you know what? Not on you. On these four. Why? I'm gonna try to use these two. Maybe we can peel away some of the enemy infantry with the additional speed offered by these guys. Let's find out. Go. Fourth. Oh, actually, this is the fourth battle. Oh, man. Well, we're out of time, but I've already spent so much time preparing for this battle. We're going to fight it now, even though this episode is going to require some crazy editing. Before we get into the battle, though, as I forgot to mention, we did reach the engagement threshold this time, so clearly the hour is here, and the offer still stands. 300 likes, and I think 50 comments. The next episode will be an hour as well. Let's see if we survive.
ancestors!
Alrighty, here we go for the ancestors indeed. Let's see if I've overprepared for this battle, or not. I have a healthy respect for Festus and the insane amounts of healing that he can give his army, and especially after playing with him relatively recently in my Archaon campaign, I'm going to deploy in such a way as to specifically deal with him. So, the way that we've done this is this. Our 2 units of Dwarf Warriors over on this side, our Akshina ambushers, our Vanguard deployed forward just to get a few extra volleys into the enemy and get them moving as well as our units on the left flank, which is 2 units of Dwarf Warriors regular and 2 units with Great Axes hidden so that they can hit the enemy in the back line. Now, the main aspect of this deployment is to spread our forces out and try to get the enemy units sort of not blobbed up. The biggest danger with Festus is him getting a Death Star ball and us being unable to do anything whatsoever about it. If the AI was cognizant of the fact that Festus could do this, they would just Death Star up with all the giants and the Exalted Hero and the Spawn and the Beasts of Nurgle around Festus and the Chaos Warriors as well, and they wouldn't care about our range units because we just don't have the damage or the ammunition to bring any of them down. Hence, we're separating in this particular manner. We have our Quarrelers a little bit behind, and we also know that the AI does like to send its single entities like those Beasts of Nurgle rushing forward and through your lines into your back lines, as we've seen in previous battles already, so you gotta watch out for that. Anyway, Akshina ambushers do a little bit of damage to those Pestigors, obviously not a crazy amount. 50 armor looks to be more than enough, but we certainly want that armor-piercing weapon strength on these guys gone. Plus, they're a fast enough unit so that we can't really kite them on our own, and thus need to do damage to them as much as possible in range, and rather than in melee. Anyway, the enemy does approach and soon will be in range of our Quarrelers, who will get their first quarrels quarreling, as they do, and once again fire into those Pestigors. We want them all dead. Can't wait to play my own Pestigor army in my Tamarkan run as well. They do seem like a pretty fun sort of force. A little bit fragile in certain cases, but this is something that they should certainly be able to do. There we go. Great Axes swinging as they smash into our first line, getting a couple more hits into them from our range units, but otherwise the battle is now engaged. So, we've managed to get our 2 units of Dwarf Warriors. These are the faster moving units of Dwarf Warriors from our Ranger-trained Lord, peeling away a unit of Chaos Warriors of Nurgle and a unit of Plague Bearers. They will never catch them, and these can simply lead them away rather than allow them to participate. Out here, another unit of Dwarf Warriors is simply going to try to distract these Plague Bearers as we're going to hit them in the back with our reinforcing units, as we have our 4 units of reinforcing Dwarf Warriors now moving out of the woods. Just gotta hold and protect our range units now, who are going to target those high-value targets. Target 1, Spawn of Nurgle. Why Spawn of Nurgle? They only have 25 armor, and thus, even though they're very dangerous to Dwarf Warriors and probably Longbeards alike, they should probably be the easiest thing to kill here. With the lack of physical resistance of demons and the lack of armor, they should be the most susceptible to concentrated range fire from Quarreler and Ambusher alike. And there we go, the damage is pretty severe on them now. They're still managing to dish out decent damage, but it looks like it won't be for too much longer. Giant is distracted by another unit of Dwarf Warriors, and same with another Beast of Nurgle, and as long as they're not attacking our range units, that works for us. Don't do that. Idiots. That's what happens. Go get those other units in the backs with your great weapons, and don't do that. Now, the enemy Exalted Hero has peeled away, and we've sent in our entire blob of Slayers as well as Zamnil Knucklebreaker, our lord, to fight him. The enemy Exalted Hero has absolutely massive stats, though, outdoing the stats of our own lord by pretty much everything with the exception of armor. It's pretty intense, and I think the only reason we're winning armor is because this guy has sundered armor from our Slayers on him. Otherwise, all of his stats are massively superior to the Dwarf Lord, who only hits for 358 right now because of the poison? Damn. That's really weak. It hits half as hard as the enemy does with less armor piercing as well. And obviously the stats are significantly less, but we do have that Muster of Malevolence available to us as well as that Helm of Discord, though the enemy has a Helm of Discord on their Exalted Hero as well, so we could be doing a little bit of back and forth with that. Hopefully they bring him down. In the meantime, with the enemy Chaos Spawn fallen, all of our range units have switched targets to Festus. He still has 48 armor, but it's not ultra heavy, and maybe we can bring him down despite the heals. Slayer's still working on that enemy Rot Beast and Exalted Hero together with our own Lord, but both the Lord, down now below half HP, and our Slayers are taking pretty massive amounts of damage. Alright, over on the back lines, we are still leading away in the Plague Bearers of Nurgle and the Chaos Warriors here, and we send another unit of Dwarf Warriors to back up the first one against the Plague Bearers. But as we can see, they're doing basically nothing. The first unit has lost half its HP to this unit of Plague Bearers. Plague Bearers have taken basically no damage whatsoever, and have managed to kill off 38 of them. These have managed to kill none and deal 690 damage. They are horribly, horribly outclassed. But that's why we can build them at one turn from global recruitment after all. And at the end of the day, they just need to hold the ground while we deal with the high-value targets with our Lord, our Slayers, and our range units. Festus down to maybe a sliver of HP, though the Exalted Hero has managed to drop our own Lord fairly significantly, down to about 30% now, or 40% maybe. It looks like said Exalted Hero will soon fall. I do imagine the Nurglings are dishing out some damage to the Slayers as well, unarmored as they are, the Slayers I mean, but it looks like Festus will finally break and take his healing elixirs far away from the front line. And would you please go down? Oh damn, our Lord is down to about a quarter of his HP now, the enemy hero down to 15. Once again, all this with the armor-piercing Grudge Settler Slayers surrounding and attacking him. We're going to have to back away our Lord. It's the only option, because if he dies, our army might rout. Finally, Festus gets hit with enough arrows and quarrels, or I guess it's all quarrels, to be brought down. Ooh, look at that bloody trail he left all the way from our main line. That said, even though Festus is finally destroyed, and he broke rather than being banished, meaning he wasn't a high enough level to have his demonic ascension yet. But with Festus down, it looks like the Exalted Hero will break too, and between the Arrow Fire and the Muster of Malevolence, it looks like we will be able to bring him down as well. Damn, you sir. You were a formidable foe. Rest in peace. Alright, now let's see what we have left. Balance of power still only just in our favor. We've also had our Demon Slayer arrive on the field, and he's lost about half of his HP, and the Dwarf Warriors have lost about half of their HP, fighting the single Beast of Nurgle. Now granted, he has no items. I maybe could have given him some items, but you know. It was just sort of an afterthought to help out in this army a little bit. At the end of the day, the real strategy here is separating Festus from all the other units, and not so much the damage dealt. Especially not by the Dwarf Warriors and such, as they're just meant to hold the line. Anyway, the range units now switching to escaping Marauders and Pestigors and whatnot, while we continue focusing the enemy giant down and keep holding the Beast of Nurgle locked in place. Those Plague Bearers have forced the first unit of Dwarf Warriors absolutely decimated to rout and have turned upon the second, which I'm sure they'd be able to rip apart without issue. And these aren't exalted, these are regular Plague Bearers as well. We're gonna need to help them out, so another unit of Dwarf Warrior will move in, and both Lords will move in as well to help. We're going to mob the giant in order to try to keep it pinned in place while we keep covering it, pincushioning it with those quarrels. 'Tis necessary. Ouch. The giant seems upset about the whole situation, but he's gotten 125 kills and nearly 10k damage on him, so he should be proud of the work. And the reason why I'm now using so much resources to try to bring this giant down isn't even so much the damage, as we don't want the giant escaping off-field. There we go, because we want this army destroyed. Anyway, the Lords have arrived to help out the 2 units of Dwarf Warriors against the Plague Bears, and the Plague Bears are still fighting, surrounded from every side against all that. A single unit of them. Alright, don't underestimate Plague Bearers. Come on, grind them down. They're still not at half models lost, but they are down below half HP. The rest of the battle is going decently in our favor, though it looks like we're basically out of ammunition at this point, and we may have to bring this Beast of Nurgle down, and the second Beast of Nurgle down, the old-fashioned way. Our other Dwarf Warrior units are now returning to our forces with the Plague Bearers and the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, having chased them for so long, but we need fresh units to help with all this, as we've isolated pretty much the entire remaining enemy army. At least that aspect of the plan certainly worked out. Alright. And finally, these absolutely heroic units of Plague Bearers will fall. I wish they had a name here, or I would add them to a cross-campaign, add them sort of to one of Tamarkan's armies. That would be nice to commemorate their last stand here, because it was a pretty glorious one. Anyway, if anybody thinks of a name for them here, I'll add them to the Tamarkan campaign instead, as I feel like they warrant the reward. Anyway, this Beast of Nurgle nearly down to half HP now, and we're going to head the Lords in to try to help out without hopefully losing them as well. We also have kept our Slayers alive, and not actually fighting anymore despite the armor sundering that they do, but they've been chasing enemy enemy units down, as they are, well, fast for a dwarf. It looks like we at least have ammo a tiny bit on a couple of our units, though. I think 3 are out of ammo and 2 are still firing. Just keep firing into that Beast of Nurgle, and yes, I'm sure some friendly fire damage will heal up a few of our Dwarf Warriors, but it's necessary. Besides, there are no other armies near this right now. So if these guys fall, the place will be safe. And I'm starting to think perhaps we should build a defenses here at the Tower of Crag, just in case. Alrighty, and at last, with the enemy Beast of Nurgle beginning to crumble away, it takes enough damage, and finally is banished. But the Chaos Warriors have arrived, and look at them lay into the regular Dwarf Warriors. This was one of the healthier units, and these guys, I think this might have been a full health unit, in fact. These guys take 34 units of them right off the bat, and basically force the unit instantly to rout. We move in reinforcing units to hit them in the back with great weapons and regular weapons alike, or the great weapons are approaching anyway. But it didn't quite work out, as this first unit that was supposed to act as an anvil got absolutely minced far too quickly. The Lords are working on the second Beast of Nurgle. Unfortunately, the beast is nearly done for as well, though it's killed out plenty of Longbeards and regular Dwarf Warriors. The Demon Slayer and the Lord will at last bring it down. Alright, and with the Beast of Nurgle defeated, 'tis only the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle with great weapons that remain, and with them and the other Plague Bearer unit, the balance of power is still only about 70% in our favor. Hopefully with more units moving in, and the Plague Bearers still very slowly moving towards us, far enough away, I hope, to be able to surround and destroy these great weapon Chaos Warriors of Nurgle. Once again, similar to the Plague Bearers, not to be underestimated. And I mean, these are Chaos Warriors, and they are Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, so they were always going to be quite effective. Especially against this. Great weapon Nurglite warriors with that armor piercing and that poison against the regular Dwarf Warriors is a terrible matchup for the Warriors. Now that said, the enemy is now surrounded. We're even sending the Ekshina ambushers in, and just because they're able to move into melee, and hopefully with these guys attack from every side, that their morale will finally break, despite the fact that they had 81 units remaining, and they will shatter. With them gone, despite the distance, and the fact that these guys never entered the fray, it looks like the Plague Bearers will melt away as well. What a glorious battle. Damn, I really enjoyed that. I think we could have won that without needing Akshina ambushers or probably a few of the runes, but, well, better safe than having another settlement. Was that one sacked? No, I think it was when it was occupied. Huh. I feel like Festus wouldn't have occupied this, though. It's a little bit too far from his territory, but nonetheless, either way, we invested in it and we had to protect that investment. We're going to chase this unit down. It's going to take a little bit of time because we have to work through all that armor, but we could do that off screen. Alright, there we go. Well, it was a very interesting fight. I very much enjoyed that, although a few things didn't quite go as I was expecting them to. Certainly the maneuver with hiding some of the units in the forest didn't quite work out at all, and I probably wouldn't bother with it if I were to play it again, especially as they were so slow that by the time they got to the fight, most of the units of the front line had already been heavily damaged, so them hitting the enemy in the back didn't quite work. I was less impressed with Festus there, as I thought he'd be more of a threat, but he went down to range missile fire fairly quickly. Conversely, though, the Beasts of Nurgle I thought outperformed what I thought they would. I thought the Demon Slayer would just obliterate them, but alas, he had trouble with a single Beast of Nurgle while with a unit of Dwarf Warriors surrounding it and attacking it, and an unbreakable unit of Dwarf Warriors to that. So pretty impressed by the Beasts of Nurgle there. The spawn went down fairly easily under missile fire as well, but the Chaos Warriors showed, especially at the end there, just how much they outclass regular Dwarf Warriors massively so, especially with those great weapons piercing their armor. And the Plague Bearers, very impressive, 135 kills and 14k nearly damage on those, gave us a unit that was surrounded by what, 2 or 3 units of Dwarf Warriors, plus both our lords whacking away at them, plus Helm of Discord debuffs and the magical damage of Skorigni here, and still they held on and they fought, stabbing in all directions. Yeah, very nice. Good job, Plague Bearers. Now that the army is destroyed, we don't care as much, so we are going to, I guess, execute and loot once more. We got to get some of our cash back from all that. Alright, very nice. Olaf wants peace. No, thank you. Go reclaim Carrick Flag, actually. That would be swell. Surtha Ek wants peace. Oh, Surtha. Wow, you did what you did. You know what you did. Alrighty. Well, Scourge of Akatane destroyed. Well done to the Orthodoxy. We pieced out with them at the right time, as they thus far were not able to do anything to our territories. War coordination targets lost because we killed off Festus. Alright, we told them to attack him, but they didn't do anything. King Lon Ironhammer is back, and we will be giving him our Peak Gate Guard later on, most likely, though for now I think they might be too expensive to hold on to. I'll think about it. We have other armies that need priority. Win 3 battles against following race greenskins. Eventually, yes. In a while, but eventually, yes. And alrighty. And there we go. With that, folks, after 4 battles, this has been a pretty great one so far. I think I'm going to have to call the episode here. Next time, Malakai advances towards the rat hordes of Clan Ferric, and if we can grab Carrick Flag from these guys, if they retake it, that would be just lovely. And though it looks like these guys are going to grab the Temple of Heimkel, by the looks of it, maybe there will be territory to trade them in the Empire or something. And we shall see. The Fecondites are still very much going to be a threat and will probably come back with a full stack, so we have to be ready for them. But by then I think Norska should have been shored up and we will be able to send an army out there. Though we still have to deal with Sigvald and all of this stuff so that they don't, you know, start sailing from the north to the south into Norska. Another army is certainly called for, but we will be able to separate Grimbrindle from Malakai sooner rather than later as well, and send one of them here, send one of them there. Yeah. Fecondites, always a menace. Really gotta knock those guys out. But anyway, with that, once again, we're out of time. More Malakai to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.